Rounds observed. Drop 500. Fire for effect.
Alright, adjust. Fire! Alrighty, today we're going to be talking to you about the Artillerist.
Another one from Tasha's, Artificer, or Artificers, a subclass. The Artillerist is basically someone who's coming around bringing the pain. You have a cannon or a weapon of some sort that is going to pump rounds down and hail upon the enemy in a way that they are not going to appreciate.
Pilot to bombardier, pilot to bombardier. Ready, pilot.
Drop bombing now.
So, some artificers ask the hard questions. Couldn't there be even more collateral damage? Or, to use our engineering calculations, P plus M equals enough. The Artillerists specialize in magic to hurl energy, projectiles, and explosions all over the battlefield and blow stuff up and mess people up. Fantastic subclass. It's no alchemist, but it's pretty good. Do you want to cover the first thing we get there?
Sure
Archie?
thing. I would love to. I've played one of these guys before. At level 3, you gain a tool proficiency, much like the other Artificer subclasses. You gain proficiency with Woodcrafter's tools, and if you already have proficiency, you gain proficiency with another type of artisan's tools of your choice. At 3rd level, you also gain the Artillerist spells. So these are spells that you have prepared, but do not add as spells that you need to know. So they're always memorized on your list. The spells you gain are up on the screen now. So as you can see, you've got 3rd level, you've got Shield and Thunderwave. 5th level, you've got Scorching Ray, Shatter. 9th, we pick up Fireball and Wind Wall. And 13th level, you gain Ice Storm with Wall of Fire, with final 17 being Cone of Cold and Wall of Force. These are some wicked spells.
Especially with the Artillerist potential armor classes you can get. Having Shield, always amazing. Thunderwave, like many of these spells are just so thematic, on par with the Artillerist. Especially firing off spells like a wand, having a Scorching Ray, being able to do a slow motion dive to the side. Max pain, bullet time. Absolutely love that.
Yeah, so these are great spells. You're going to enjoy, and they're missing from the other lists, like Fireball down this gun you've got cocked with this tiny little thing. Like a Derringer. Fireball.
The wand chooses the wizard, Archie. So, at level 3, we also get Eldritch Cannon. You've learned how to create a magical cannon using woodcarver's tools or smith tools. You can take an action to magically create a small or tiny Eldritch Cannon in an unoccupied space on a horizontal surface within 5 feet of you. A good example of this would be the machine that Rick makes to pass the butter.
Yeah, just a small
What is my purpose? Pass the butter. Oh, God. Actually, a good example of this is in the Dragon Friends podcast, where one of the Eldritch Cannons that a Artillerist makes is a pyro flamethrower. And basically walks around going, I must burn! Must burn! And just half the battles end with towns burning down. So you can have a lot of fun.
Saved.
Yeah.
Saved.
Saved. The town has been saved.
We saved the town.
But yeah, so basically the cannon is a magical object. It has an AC of 18 and a number of hit points equal to 5 times your Artificer level, or Artificer level if said correctly. If forced to make an ability check or saving throw, treat all abilities scores as 10 plus 0. If the mending spell is cast on it, it regains 2d6 hit points, and there's a very special note on the mending spell.
It takes a minute to cast.
Say it again.
It takes a minute to damn well cast.
Say it again.
My first game through, we thought it was an action. It takes a minute to cast, heavily reducing the usefulness of it.
Yep. Though we should point out that the original casting of this takes an action, So to make a brand new one takes 1 action.
But to fix a little bit on it, whole minute.
Yeah.
That's
So
parts and labour for you.
yeah. So maybe do an Arcana check and just homebrew that rule a little bit to make it fun. Just because it is fun. When you create the cannon, you get determine whether it has legs. You also decide what type it is. On each of your turns, you can take a bonus action to cause the cannon to activate if you're within 60 feet of it. As part of the same bonus action, you can direct the cannon to walk or climb up to 15 feet to an unoccupied space, provided it has legs.
It's freaking sweet.
Yeah.
It's freaking sweet. So, tell us. You want to tell us about the 3 types of cannons that you can create with this subclass?
Keeping it simple, flamethrower, cone damage,
Like burning hands, basically, sort of a hit.
force blister, chance to knock back, 2d8 damage, 120 feet, so that's a bit of a sniper one, and protector, burst of positive energy. I really want this to be like a cheerleader. Each creature of your choice within 10 feet gets a number of temporary hit points equal to 1d8 plus your intelligence modifier.
That's
Pretty good.
That's pretty good. That's heaps. Get a lot of hit points out of that.
All right, Arcane Firearm.
Arcane Firearm. Let me tell you about Arcane Firearm. So at 5th level, you gain the Artillerist feature, Arcane Firearm. You know how to turn a wand, staff, or rod into an arcane firearm. Does that mean it's a gun? Not necessarily. A conduit for your destructive spells. When you finish a long rest, you can use a woodcarver's tool to carve special sigils into a wand, staff, or rod, thereby turning it into your arcane firearm. The sigils disappear from the object if you later carve them into a different item, so you can't have more than one at this stage. Sigils otherwise last indefinitely. You can use your arcane firearm as a spellcasting focus for your Artificer spells, and when you cast your arcane spells through the firearm, roll a d8, and you add that bonus to the spell's damage rolls equal to the number rolled. So you get to add an extra d8 to any spell you cast coming through this. So you pull your wand, hit them with a magic missile and anything like that, and there's a d8 added to that damage bonus.
Excellent. One technique. Number 4. Do you want to show us that again? Nice.
So yeah, it doesn't have to be a gun. For some people, they'll want a gun, and if it's really going to bum out people, it doesn't have to be. A stick with some carved runes on it can apparently do the exact same thing.
I love the fact that it doesn't say it has to be a non-magical wand, so you can take wands that have a +3 on it and turn that into your arcane firearm.
Just carve some extra runes on it.
Yeah, like nowhere here does it say it has to be non-magical, where normally it would. For all the infusion has to be non-magical. This is turn a wand, staff, or rod into an arcane firearm. Now, while probably not practical, I love the idea of getting a movable rod and converting it into a sniper rifle to get rid of recoil, get a little bit extra range out of it.
It's steady. It's the most steady thing ever.
And then it's like wanted with...
No worries.
So,
9th level? What happens to my cannon at 9th level, Mitch?
you get to blow it up.
I didn't want that. I wanted it to do...
No, it's good!
Okay, it's good. Tell me how it's good.
Okay, well, we're artificers, and we're blowing something up.
That's good.
It is good. It ticks all the boxes.
I'm on board.
Yeah, PG-13, that's approved for explosives. So every Eldritch Cannon you create is now more destructive. The cannon's damage rolls all increase by 1d8.
Awesome.
As an action, you can command the cannon to detonate if you're within 60 feet of it. Doing so destroys the cannon and forces each creature within 20 feet to make a dexterity saving throw against your spell save DC, taking 3d8 force damage on a failed save or half as much on a successful one.
That's good. I mean, not something you do necessarily at full hit points, but when it's down to those last single digits, you got to figure out it's going to take one attack off a bad guy, or you're going to hit everyone in the air. So against one single bad guy, you might let the bad guy waste an action on that. Against a lot of people, self-destruct that baby and then make another.
Hell yeah.
Only takes 6 seconds. You can make another.
Yeah, good old spell slot. Spell slot for 3d8 force damage to every, and which is a very rarely resisted damage. That's great. Yeah, I think, hang on. Let me just have one more feel of this book. The texture's really nice. It feels good.
Yeah.
It's good.
This doesn't get a lot of book time.
This is the second time because we had the other night. I'll treasure that night forever. Yeah. So, this is the second time I've held this book.
It is. How would you like to hold one forever, for the rest of your days?
That would get heavy after a long time.
It would. Yeah. But you could always put it down and come back and touch it again later.
And I guess I could, good job, son. So pat him with the book. But no, how would I go about getting one of these?
Well, we're about to hit a small but important milestone here at Big Game Small Pieces, so I would like to give people the opportunity to get one. We can do this 2 ways. So how do you get it? How do you get it for starters? First of all, I guess you've got to
pay with my own money, obviously.
Obviously, but
yeah.
no, I'll do it. So subscribe to the channel, like a video and put a comment on one, and you can like and comment on more videos to get more entries. From there, I will pick out someone when we hit this milestone coming up. It's 100 subscribers. We're turned off at the moment. Time of filming. And from that, I will notify you that you've got yourself a copy of Tasha's, and I will talk to you and describe how do you want it. Do you want me to send you a hard copy, or do you want a soft copy put onto an account that you have? We'll have a chat about this, and I'll get you Tasha's Cauldron one way or another.
There you go. You just tell Daddy how you want it. All right, so the next thing up is Fortified Position.
15th level. Wow. 15th level. Woo. Okay, so not all campaigns are going to get to this high, but if you happen to push that Curse of Strahd extra hard, you could. You have mastered of forming well-defined, well-defended emplacements using your Eldritch Cannon. You and your allies have half cover while within 10 feet of a cannon you create with Eldritch Cannon as a result of a shimmering field of magical protection that the cannon emits. I see droidicas.
Yeah.
Droidicas. You now can have 2 cannons at the same time, and you can now have 2 cannons at the same time. You can have these 2 cannons of the same action, but not the same spell slot. You can activate both on the same bonus action, and you determine whether the cannons are identical or one is ballista, the other one's protector. But you cannot create a third cannon while you have the 2. So it's telling you there, you cap out at 2. Yep. So that doubles the damage these cannons can potentially be pumping out. You could have 2 ballistas pumping this thing, or 2 flamethrowers just burning everything.
That's pretty insane.
That's fun. And with these things advancing, with people gaining cover bonuses, you are having a lot of fun with this. You've got the droidicas advancing, and you're standing between, and you're still operating whatever cantrip spells and blaster and weapons you're actually wielding yourself. So you're throwing a lot onto the battlefield with this subclass.
Build types. Character build. What would you go?
My character concept. Well, I did play a gnome artificer artillerist in it's not Lost Mines of Hell, it's the other one, Dragon of Ice by Peak.
Yes.
That was great. I played a unhinged. My character.
Yeah,
unhinged.
I played my regular character.
I played my regular guy. So so I wasn't worried about creating things that deliberately backfired. I even told the GM, when I'm creating experimental things, they could blow up. They could do an effect that I wasn't planning them to do. They could do anything. So I sat down with the DM and I come up with a whole list of cool things that we can have my guy come up with. And we had a great time. My character we invented enlargement rays. We had brains in jars. We pulled brains out of one body, put it in another body to resurrect them. We did all sorts of weird stuff. And I took the lead on coming up with a lot of this sort of stuff. And had a fantastic time. Now, that doesn't have to be guns. So if you want guns, you want guns. But if everyone says, we don't want guns, you can use wands. They can secretly be guns. Don't tell people. Yeah. Wand.
Yeah.
It's a wand.
Just like John Wick, I pull out my dual
pencils.
Wands. Why have you got your thumbs up?
No reason. So, if guns are going to cause people a problem, they're not guns. They're wands. It says so right there. So, fantastic class. A lot of fun.
For my build, I've actually got a build waiting to play at the next one-shot I'm doing with some friends. It is a bank heister. So basically my Artillerist is completely built towards opening safes. Right. So my exploding of the Eldritch Cannon is a breaching charge to open a safe.
Yep.
All sorts of things. So every single ability and spell I took has been towards breaching, opening, and otherwise messing with security. So it's a casino heist and very exciting. And basically I went with a reborn.
Yep.
Where the first squad that went in to rob the casino didn't make it. And the remnants were turned into me.
The pieces strapped together.
Yeah, so they're like, hey, listen. I've got most of the memories I need to get in. I know at one point there was a thick vault door, and I'm prepared. This time. So yeah, it's basically a Frankenstein's monster safe heist. So that's what I'm going with. Cool. I did really, really want to do a fairy artillerist so I could ride the Eldritch Cannon, but unfortunately...
not the right sizes.
Not the right size.
But you mount it on a skateboard, hey.
Yeah, I was thinking, you could also involve the homunculus and have the saddle be the arcane firearm. But hey, let's move on.
I'll
work on that dream.
Tips. What does a player need to have tips when they're building this class? How is it going to help them? And what do GMs need to do to help the player in this campaign, Mitch?
With this, it is a case of understanding which rolls are going to be applying extra damage, which rolls aren't. I will say that the Arcane Firearm and the Eldritch Cannon do get mixed up a lot. So it might be nice to come up, probably the best tip I could say is coming up with a name for your Eldritch Cannon, coming up with a title for your Arcane Firearm, rather than calling it that. Like, I'm going to use my blast cap or something to fire this, and I'm going to call Sparky to come do flamethrower stuff. Just to make it easier, because for some reason, I guess because one's called cannon and one's called a firearm, and everyone sort of puts those two together, it can get very confusing, especially if it goes for about 10 minutes before everyone realizes the other person's talking about something else.
No worries.
Terminology is key.
For GMs, make sure that if you're playing online, you've got the tokens and things ready, because this will become a separate item that's wandering around. For GMs, make sure you establish technology levels that you're comfortable with the player, and you do that ahead of time. If a player just rocks up and he's telling you he's doing guns and doing all this sort of stuff, and you're like, whoa, it's not my world, can we magic that shit up a bit? Balance that out. Once again, it doesn't have to be a firearm, but it can be a firearm. Maybe this is the first guy ever to invent firearms. Heaps of different ways this you could play around with that. As for any other tips for players, doesn't have heaps of hit points at the early stages, so you will have to bring him back a couple times, which means you've got a long rest, which means you've got to save a spell slot, which means maybe you're not necessarily the big healer. If you go running in at the end to go spending all your slots on healing people up, that could have been a cannon, which could lead you to not having a lot. You're not a full caster, so you don't have the full ensemble of spells, nor do you get to the highest level of spells. But so you're going to have to pace yourself out a bit, particularly if you're a party that wants to take short rests and then kick on again. Like, you aren't a short rest person, you are a long rest person. So you're going to have to figure that out. The best thing you can do on a short rest is mend up your cannon and get it going again. That's probably the best thing you can pull out of that. So work together with your demon player as to exactly how you're going to bring technology or magical stuff into your world. So you're all on par and you're all building in the same direction.
Excellent. I love that, but I'm going to change my player concept just because I need to.
Go on.
Nope, I'm doing it right now.
Go.
Okay. Cowboy. With a big revolver, and every spell is in a different one. So
loads. Flicks it up in the air, catches it, and flicks it close.
Scorching ray. Sorry, I just love that visual. Like the idea of loading in like a blue shell that's got a swirling vortex in it. So every spell is contained in that moment. All right. So next up, that's it.
Well, that's all.
We did it.
The Artillerist. Hope you enjoy it. It's a fun class. Find the right DM who's going to allow this sort of gameplay, and you will have a ball. You will be leading people in creativity and coming up with the best stuff.
Artillerists are the most fun for everyone. The only thing you should be limited by is the world, your imagination, time you're allowed to play.
Yeah. Thanks for listening. We'll catch us next time, and hopefully you're enjoying these videos. Check out the other ones to do with the any of these subclasses in Tasha's, or more specifically, if you've got more, you're wondering more about the Artillerists and Artificers, check out the rest of the videos.
And Archie, thank you so much for coming to my house and hanging out with me.
Only 24 hours of driving.
Yeah, it was worth it though for me, because I didn't have to do anything and you're here. So it works out well. But
I even bought him pizza.
He bought me pizza, and we got to play a one shot, and it was amazing. Well, for me, it was great. But guys, it's been an absolute pleasure, and Happy New Year.
See you.
Happy New Year, buddy.
See you, Mitch.